Hello everyone, and welcome back. It's that time of year again. It's time to polish some rocks. Well, the first thing we're going to do is make sure that this still works. Seems to work pretty good. I just put more and more pressure on it and it still spins. I always get the question what kind of tumbler I'm using, and I have to answer it in comments. I have the QT66. I have two of these 6-pound barrels. We're just going to be filling one like usual. As far as the rocks for this year, I've got this bag here, which are ones that I have collected. Some of them are true agates. Some of them are just like, if you guys watched my previous videos, I just call them cool rocks. So I've already went through these. There were a couple that I weren't real happy with, had some pretty deep pits in them. I took those out. These here are just quartz. This year I decided quartz are easy to find and they're very easy to polish because they're the right hardness. And you really can't screw them up. If you were a beginner wondering how to polish rocks and you're worried about, oh no, I might have too soft of a rock in my batch that might end up scratching it and you'll never get them really shiny, just do a batch of quartz and you really can't screw that up. These rocks here, like every year, I try to buy some online that are just something I can't get from around here. So I got, this is 2 pounds, I can't even remember what they were. I just go onto Amazon and look for rocks for polishing, but some of them are really neat. Like, they're really going to turn out nice. This one is almost like a green quartz or clearish green. Yeah, I'm always excited to do these just to see how they turn out. We got 2 pounds of those. Look at that one. The first thing I'm going to do is just run these through and rinse them. At least with this first batch, I don't have to worry about cleaning the rocks really well. We'll drop them into the tumbler, see what this does for filling it up, and then we'll add the quartz to it afterwards to bring up the rest of the volume. This one would be considered a true agate. Not sure if you can even see that, but it's got these bands in it, lines. This one is not. This just has one line in it, but then these kind polish up really nice. There's a pretty cool one too. That's a true agate. Look at that one. That's going to be cool. Looks like we have about maybe a half of a tumbler full. So I'm going to definitely want to add some quartz. I want this to be 2/3 to 3/4 of the way full. The volume of it will really drop after the first couple of grinds or tumbles because the rocks will get quite a bit smaller. Well, I think we'll put this one in there. We have quartz over here, pitted on this side, but that'll grind out. I'm not sure about this dark spot. That rock might not be really polishing material, but we're going to run it through the first grind anyway. We can always discard it. We'll see what that looks like. This one is just pretty cool. Some sort of a landscaping rock. I think that it'll probably break apart, but we'll throw it in anyway. I want to do some of these that are really white. Let me see. That one's just different. I like this one. Looks like it's got cracks in it. It might break apart, but this one just has all kind of different stuff in there. It's almost a cross between a quartz and an agate, but it's really neither. Boring rock, we'll put that in there. This one has a real kind of a yellowish tinge to it. I think we'll pull this one out. I don't know, that feels hard though. Let's throw it in for the first batch. Get as many of these in there as we can. Let's see, what is this one? I don't know what that is, but it feels pretty hard. I've got this one, but it has a deep pit in it. See that? And every time I'm going to have to scrub that inside there with a toothbrush and make sure that it's clean, and I'm going to worry about it. So let's pull that one. I think I can get all of these almost in there. This one here is a pretty pure looking one. This one has a pit also right there. Avoid that one. Now that we have all of our rocks in here, this is about, like I think I say every year, I don't think I'd want to put any more rocks in here, but this should work pretty good. So now we're going to go ahead and put in our grit. This for step 1 here, we're using a 60-90 Silicon Carbide, and I'm going to put in 11 tablespoons. I will always get comments when I'm doing this part of these videos where somebody will say, you don't need to use that much or whatever, and you know, do whatever you want. Whatever you think that your directions show. This is how I've done it. You guys have watched me do this for years, or if you haven't, you can certainly go back and watch the videos, and it works awesome for me every time. Now that we have our 60-90 Silicon Carbide in there, we're just going to add water till it almost covers the rocks. Just about like that, should be perfect. You want to make sure you don't have anything right here. There's nothing worse than letting this run, because I run this in the basement because it's loud and I don't go down there and check it. I mean, I'll probably go down and check it tomorrow maybe, and we're going to leave this in for, you have to leave it in for between 5 and 7 days. On the first grind like this, I usually like to leave it 7 days. Just let it get it ground down, get the rough edges off of it, and you know, just take a good look. There's nothing worse than opening up the first one and then having to put it back in there. So the first time I think I did my first batch, I did every one of them 5 days, and it worked out just fine. But that was, I had a 3-pound tumbler at that time, which I still have, I just don't use it. But after that excitement, because you know, it kills you, the excitement of waiting for that batch to get done. And now I just put it in there and just let it go. So 7 days on this first one. But you want to make sure this is off. There's nothing worse than going down there after a few days and you had a blowout and there's crap everywhere. Put our lid on. Put this one on. Tighten that down. I like to do this just to make sure we don't have any leaks. One time I did. One time I had one that something wasn't seated right and it leaked. And I did have one batch one time that had a blowout and it was a mess. That's why I'm so careful to make sure everything is good that first time. Seems okay. I guess we should discuss ceramic media. I don't put any ceramic media into the first grind. There's no reason. This helps to fill the volume as the rocks get smaller, and it also cushions the rocks, which we'll talk about in later steps, so they're not banging against each other and bruising. These will soften that blow, and also as these hit against the rocks, it also creates that sandpaper motion with the grit in there and grinds them down. But there's really no need to put these into the first batch unless you were doing a 6-pound tumbler with 2 pounds of rocks and you needed to fill that up to see you've got the right amount of volume for it to work correctly. And this is going to sound, it sounds loud on camera, and I mean it is loud, but you don't hear it upstairs at all. There's a bathroom right above here, the main bath in the house, and if you listen really hard you can hear it, but otherwise you really can't. And I get questions every year in the comments about why don't you do it outside? And it's 20 below zero. You know, you can't. You'd be just trying to roll ice. I have done, I think, 1 or 2 batches when I was at our Louisiana house in the winter time, and then I could just leave it outside. It was no big deal, but we don't have that option here. Not for another 2.5 months anyway. By then I'm busy doing other stuff and I'm not thinking about doing rocks. Okay everyone, well thanks a lot for watching. It's important here this first day to come down here every couple hours and just make sure that it's spinning right. If your tumbler is starting to, like if the roller is starting to get too smooth or the tumbler is getting too smooth, there are times when you'll come down here and the actual, whatever you call it, spinning rod will be spinning, but the actual tumbler isn't. And then you have trouble. And a lot of times when that happens too, or you'll come down here and nothing will be spinning but the motor is going, you might need to switch out the belt or whatever. I've done it before where I just took fine sandpaper and ran it like on here. This is the one that's actually being powered. And that roughs it up a little bit, but otherwise, I try not to do anything because as soon as you start to mess with it, pretty soon you figure out, I think a couple years ago I bought new ones of these, and then it worked just fine. So, but you can get a year or 2 out of them if you have to start modifying it like that. I will now go upstairs and write down the date and the time that I put this in, because believe me, after you've done enough batches, you think in your head, the first time you can keep track pretty good, but then once you get into it and it's just another batch of rocks, you start thinking, oh no, did I put that in on Friday or was it Saturday? And then you're just guessing. Now I won't screw that up. The background noise you're hearing is Melissa's freeze dryer going. She has apples, strawberries, raspberries, blueberries. I will see you guys in about a week on the next rock polishing video.